All right, well, it is 1 o'clock here. We're going to go ahead and get started with our SEO office hours. This is basically set up to be just like you had back in college. Your professor opened his door for an hour. You could go in there and ask him whatever you wanted. If you needed help with something, this is exactly what that is. So again, if you have not asked your questions, drop them in the chat, and we'll get to those later on. All right, well, let's jump in with a couple updates from the HOTH.
Yes, so first we have our new client organizer. It is live. If you haven't seen it yet, all you have to do is just log into the dashboard, click the orders, the My Orders button at the top, and then that will drop down all your client dashboard, your all orders, and your scheduled orders as well. So once you get to the client organizer, you'll see that we have some new features in there. So we can actually completely create new tags for each one of your clients, and then we'll sort all the orders out for you. It'll also take, into effect how much they've spent over the course of time, how many orders you have, and you can even leave notes within
it's pretty
the client
awesome.
dashboard for contact points for your clients. Very, very helpful to organize your client dashboard. However, what I would say is for a lot of our end users out there, this is also very helpful if you just want to maybe target certain pages and you want to track how much you've spent on a keyword.
Oh, that's interesting. So you can say you can divide it up.
Yeah, so you can just use landing pages basically for your clients if you'd like. That's another useful tip for the end users we have.
Gotcha. Now, because we did have a tagging feature before in our orders, and that just allowed you to attach a little word or a couple words there, but now you can actually move these around and put them in folders and sort things exactly how you want. So I would say this is probably one of the coolest things to come out of our customer portal.
It's been a long time coming.
Yeah, people have been requesting this for a very long time.
So
honestly, I can say that on the sales side too, I love it. It helps me out with navigating and getting you guys answers more quickly as well. So if you haven't checked, even if you just have 2 clients, definitely download the client organizer and get that going for you. Yeah, it's cool. You can even use it if you have multiple projects you're working on too, and you're an end user, you're your only client. Mix your different projects up and put them in there as well. I've seen a lot of success with some customers doing that too.
Find your own way to use it. All right, new item number 2.
All right, so I'm sure you guys have heard a little bit from me on this. We have a product called HOTH Syndication. I am really liking it thus far. It's only just come out of beta about a month ago, maybe a little bit over a month ago, but basically we can distribute your most popular or likable blog content to hundreds, or even if you do it multiple times, thousands of different websites. So some of these are going to be similar to our guest posting where we do manual outreach. Some of these are going to be pre-existing relationships. But the point of this is for your content to be seen as authoritative and re-represented on different websites without it being considered as duplicate content by Google. So for this reason, we see other websites referencing you so well, see you as such an authority that they're actually going to copy and paste what you originally wrote on their own website and then cite you in a couple different ways by changing the rel canonical tag, as well as at the bottom of the screen or at the bottom of the article saying, as originally featured on blah, blah, blah website.com. For these reasons, Google loves this kind of stuff. Basically, as I kind of mentioned, it's reaffirming with them that other people view your content as so high and trustworthy that they're willing to copy and paste it on their own website and give you the credit for it. Is kind of the way really I think of it.
Now, Ryan was telling me through that rel canonical tag, so you're not going to get penalized for
no
duplicate
penalizations
content.
For duplicate content. The publisher themselves will be citing your website as the authority, as the original content. So all the authority, then all those links will be passed on to your website. So this will be a variety of do follows, no follows, just really whatever the publisher, whoever syndicates the content, decides themselves to move forward with. So just a very powerful way to increase your authority, get a lot of backlinks, a lot of referring domains from all US-based news outlets. So anything from like a CBS something, Akron, Ohio,
KWC, Kansas City, or
yes, exactly. So that type of website that picks it up. So there's also that really potentially small chance that you might get even some referral traffic from these links, just because these are news websites, people are actually reading them. So if your content itself is valuable, you could get some of those gold star clicks from that actual content that's been syndicated.
And as Becca said, this is great for one of your favorite blog posts. And if you don't have a favorite blog post of yours yet, we have a product that can do that too. HOTH Blogger, we can write your new favorite article.
Talk about
Bobby basically is on the sales team now.
Yeah, well, and also another thing for syndication, I have my own sites. I've tried the syndication. So I think I started my first test back in April, early April, when it first was released. Since then, so for one of my smaller affiliate sites, I've seen around 400 new keywords been created.
Really?
From 4 different syndications I've done for some of my content. So I've seen a massive increase in just overall keywords that I've gained that are brand new. They're not ranking in page 1 yet. They're not ranking, on page 2, but these keywords are new. So I've seen
and they're there from it. That's awesome.
One thing to address too, these are a little bit different than press releases, where our press release is meant really to get no follow backlinks to your website. I see it as more of a naturalizer, where some of these are going to be do follow links too. So you can get a good amount of authority going to as well.
And these will hold more value than a press release over time because it's content. So the content itself is valuable to the domain that's publishing it or that's syndicating it. So these should hold value. The link should stay up a lot longer than a normal press release that is usually time-based.
Gotcha.
So we don't remove this content. We don't have the people or request at all, nothing about removing content from these sites once it's posted. We do guarantee our links for up to a year though. So if you see that it goes down for any reason, maybe the site it's posted on changed their URLs, has a redirect going on, let us know. We'll get that reposted for you at any time.
Awesome. New item number 3. There was a little Google algorithm update last month. Some of you might have been affected. It might have helped some of you. Becca, what have you heard about that? You want to walk us through it? I know you've done a little research.
Yeah, absolutely. So this is actually going to be very similar to previous updates we've seen. It's not too far of a departure. I don't think it's too far of departure from the Medic update of what I've seen. Some people within the YMYL, Your Money, Your Life, or health websites have actually seen an increase and thinks that it kind of battles the Medic update. The word's still out on that. The truth of what we've really seen so far with the March core update is that it focuses a lot, of course, on content. Making sure you're adding content to your website regularly, but also in a way that is viewable and readable to users. People want to be on your website. User experience is the name of the game here. But don't keep in mind, links are still extremely important. Links are the fuel to the fire that actually get your website
to the fire.
Yeah, that gets your website found. So instead of focusing on a lot of lower quality links or building up to your high quality links, the best thing you can do after this Medic update is feel empowered to sprinkle some higher quality links in there too. Don't feel that it's necessary to just work your way up from DA 10s, 20s, 30s, eventually getting to a coveted DA 50 or 60, 70 plus. Feel free to go there now. Having higher quality links or fewer higher quality links as opposed to a lot of lower quality links is something that this Medic update is really very much taking into consideration.
Yeah, and there's a lot of issues with websites who just have terrible user experience. So always focusing first on the user, making sure that your page speed is nice and quick, whether it's on mobile or if it's on desktop. So checking out Google's page insight speed tool will be really, really helpful, making sure that your on page is in good shape, making sure all your images are compressed, all those little details you can take. And then also make sure, title tags, always goes back to title tags and your on page. So optimize them, test them out, see what's working best, check your click-through rates. Those would be some of my tips too as well. So most of just like Becca was saying, a lot of the websites that were hit pretty hard by the original Medic update now are starting to recover from these more core algorithm updates that have been recently happening, like Florida 1. And this is kind of what they call Florida 2, but Google actually named it the March 2019 core, so they could get a better name to it.
And if you do have questions about your site, get a hold of one of these guys. All of our account managers love talking and they'd be happy to take a look at your site and figure out what happened with it. And if you check out the URL at the bottom down there, that's where you can go to book a meeting with any of them.
I'll also post, our CMO Clayton did an awesome write-up on the core, the March core update. I'll post that in the chat as well. Definitely check it out. It goes a little bit more into detail of what we just discussed here today.
Awesome. All right. Well, that was it. We told you we'd keep the What's New update short. We got it done in 10 minutes there. All right. So we're going to jump into question and answer time now. I think we got a little over 15 questions pre-submitted from you guys in the forum. Thank you for doing that. And then again, we'll address any questions in the chat.
Yeah, the only thing is nobody sent us any goofy messages this time.
Yeah. What was the one you got last time?
Last time it was how to stop beer from foaming. Which,
That's a great
I
question.
know,
That's
Mhm.
not goofy.
well, yeah, that's fair. I mean, we're from, me and Becca are both from Wisconsin, so we take our beer game very seriously.
Very much so.
So we're quite the authority.
I thought it smelled like cheese and dairy over here.
Sausage.
But,
Lots of sausage.
I'm just kidding,
Nice.
Becca.
No, it's okay. It's fine.
All right.
I do love my dairy.
Question number 1. Take it away, Ryan.
All right, so let's see here. We got changing title of the blog post to utilize better SEO. What do I do about the existing URL that has an old title and all the links that are going to the old post? So it's most likely okay to keep the URL the same if it has the same keyword and subject in it. If you're really determined to change that URL, though, you can always set up a new URL and then redirect it to the old URL, so that you can pass any authority on basically from any links that were already there. And then you can kind of teach Google to where that new information is going to be located. The links then themselves will probably take around 1 to 2 months, at kind of a bare minimum 10 weeks, you could say, or at a max, to also then redirect with Google, and they'll start picking it up after that amount of period. So pretty easy, but I mean, you always want to be careful when you're changing URLs, making sure you're doing your redirects properly. It can also be really, really powerful. Say you have two posts that are ranking for the same exact keywords. Sometimes it's better to just combine those 2 blog posts into one and then redirect the weaker of the URLs to the stronger URL, so then you can teach Google where to start crawling and indexing that information.
Awesome. Question number 2.
Ooh, I like this one. Other than guest posts and creating content, for example, blogs, is there anything else we should be focusing on to make our SEO stronger? Absolutely. So think of we were talking about the fuel to the fire before. Think of those blogs and the guest posts, high DA or high guest post publisher traffic links as really that fuel to the fire. You do need to have an encrypted website or something for Google to read. Encrypted is probably the worst word I could use there, but you need to have on page. So make sure your meta titles, tags, and descriptors are in place and are registered effectively with Google for the key terms that you want to be found for. Otherwise, you could have all the content and high DA links in the world pointing to your website, but Google wouldn't necessarily be able to recognize what you're trying to be found for then. So on-page is a huge part of that. We actually offer on-page services now for
$30
big
a pop.
price drop.
$30 a pop. Yeah, $30 a page.
Yeah, we can handle up to 100 at a time.
Up to 100 at a time. Yep. And we can even go in. Before we could only do them on WordPress websites. Now we run the whole kit and caboodle. If you want us to implement that on page for you, let us know. We'll do that for you too, including keyword research. So that is really the first step to SEO before getting the guest posts and content, of course. So if you're a local company, of course, too, you need to get those citation directories in place. Any sort of business out there needs a Google My Business page to be effective as well. The third one, too, would be to just hop on a call with us so we can help you figure out as well. We can kind of throw these generalities out there, but without looking at your particular website, too.
You got to have a good look at it.
Yeah. We want to make sure that it could be something as simple as adding within your blogs, adding some more internal or external links on particular pages, or adding a content page, a content table at the top of a page if something's very long, etc. So there's a lot of good, quick tips and tricks that would really, really help you out.
All right, question number 3. With a brand new website, new business, what would be the best HOTH product to mix to start when it comes to link building? Well, for link building, my 2 favorite products and the ones that I think are going to work the best for you are guest posts and foundations. Foundations do exactly what it sounds like, gives you a nice bed of links to start with, a nice foundation, and then you can hit it with some guest posts we have a range DA10 all the way up to DA50 plus. But of course, you do want to remember that SEO has 2 big components to it: link building and content. You want to make sure you're also building out a ton of content while you're building out those links as well. So make sure you do that.
All right, question number 4. So one of our businesses was on the first page of Google for its city. Now the listing appears on the second page, alternating between first and second page. Meanwhile, our competitors are consistently staying in place on the first page. Well, the first thing I like to say is that this is not out of the ordinary. This is something that can occur. However, without us being able to look at your site and know what specific site it is and what your competitors are doing for SEO, we can't really answer that for you. So feel free to book a call with Becca, Ryan, or any of our account managers, and we are happy to take a look.
Yeah, I would assume there's a lot of variables that could go into affecting something like that.
Yeah, plenty of variable. Yeah, exactly. So let's we got question 4. All right. So
Question 5.
All right. So why does our listing rank differently from week to week? So why are my rankings changing so often? Well, again, this is something that we would need to look at specifically for your site to see why it's bouncing around. But I'll say just to make sure you're being consistent with building content out, doing more links. Just don't sporadically do work, because this will cause you to bounce around more, especially if your competitors are active. So I would always look at kind of my rankings on more of like a weekly or monthly basis, because it's going to vary from day to day. It's just like the stock market. You're going to be going through your ups and downs, your ebbs and flows. So it's very natural to see your rankings change quite often. Also, Google can play around with you a little bit. They can throw you in a sandbox for maybe some new content that you have.
Test your.
Yeah, they'll test you in a certain position.
Mm-hmm.
If the users respond well to you in that position, they'll probably move you up a little bit. Maybe your click-through rates are really good. Maybe your meta description's in a really good place. So there's so many things, but that would be a really good question to just schedule a call with us so we can take a peek at that exact page or that domain that you're struggling with.
So I know we've put up a couple blogs before on the HOTH site, and you click post and then you go back the next day and we're like in the 3rd spot. We're like, wow, look at that. Yeah. And then you go back 2 days later and you're on page 3. So they really like to test you out in different spots. That's what I would think is happening. But
Agreed.
Let Ryan take a look. All right.
6. Okay. We have multiple businesses located in the same city. You would think that we would dominate the search results, except 1 or 2 of our businesses are sometimes on the second page while the rest are missing. Ooh, okay. These are one of my favorite things to help people out with. So definitely, if this is happening to you, hop on a call with me or with Ryan. We love these kind of more intricate ones. A lot of times it's dependent on what your competitors are doing, to be honest. Make sure too that your Google My Business page is set up effectively and is linking to those various locations. Make sure you're pointing links towards each of the various locations, especially if you have them built out on different pages. But a lot of it, I mean, if you're already doing that and you think you have set that up pretty correctly, hop on a call with us. We're here to help. A lot of times you are going to see that it's something that your competitors are taking advantage of or doing something that you're not. So a lot of times it is just going to be more content and more links, unfortunately.
And that kind of leads me into my question here. How do we get our business listings to appear more frequently on Google, on the Google search results? And I kind of have a similar answer. One of the best ways to figure this out is to see what your competitors are doing. Whatever they're doing is working if they're at the top. And if you want to be there, there's several ways to figure out how they got there. So you can just, one of my favorite tools is the content gap analysis tool. We actually have one on our site that you can use for free. And you're basically going to put in 2 or 3 of your competitors and your site, and it's going to find all of the keywords that they rank for that you do not. And that will help give you an exact plan. I mean, heck, that'll spit out hundreds of keywords, and that's what you can target your content and your link building on for the next, year plus, really. So check out the content gap analysis tools, what my recommendation would be. All right.
Number
The next
8.
one.
What are 5 easy things that I must do today? This is actually a really good question. So the first thing I recommend would be to build out more content on your site. This can be, well, a good rule of thumb is to have a minimum of 1,000 words on each page of your site. And we recommend trying to get a blog post up each week. Another thing you can do is number 2, which would be getting more relevant links to your site. Our recommendation here is definitely guest posts. Third thing would be working on your reputation management. You want to have a good reputation online and let people know that you're here for them, and you can provide any service or help them in any way they need. Another thing would be to do competitor research. It's essential to know what your kind of content your competitors are posting about, what keywords they're targeting, that kind of stuff. And then lastly would be to make sure that your site is secured. It's on HTTPS, and then also that it's mobile friendly. Everything's going mobile, and you definitely want to stay up to date on that.
Yeah, I think the expression is mobile first.
Mobile first.
Mobile first.
Yes.
As of
All the
July.
website designers are designing their mobile ones first and then converting to desktop. Ryan with question
Number 9, how does Google's move into audio and video affect SEO? Will it benefit SEO, the show notes, transcripts, etc.? So when it comes to audio and video content for your site, there's usually 2 main things that can help your ranking. So the first is the bounce rate and keeping visitors on the page longer. If there's any video, they're more likely to engage more, so that dwell rate is gonna go up, dwell time. Second is then adding the transcript itself to the page. So this is really important as it increases the amount of relevant content on the page of your website. So you could relate this. Let's just go into HOTH products for a split second here. We have our blogger content, and then we also have our HOTH video service. And the goal is to pair the 2. So if you have a blog that's ranking very well, maybe it's sitting in position 7 or 6 or 5, and all of a sudden you add a 2 to 5 minute video to that blog that's allowing users to engage more on your domain, stay longer, the click-through rate's going up. Google's probably going to want to reward you because you're taking advantage of 2 of their search engines, the top 2 in the world. So pairing your content with videos and then taking even your videos and creating content based off of those videos is extremely important. You can then double dip into what you produce.
And the great news about video this month is
video is 25%
video
off.
is on sale this month. 25% off. If you haven't given it a shot yet, this is the month to do it. Literally all we need is the URL of the blog post you want to use. You don't need to give us a script or anything. We take care of all that.
All we need is 250 words to be able to produce the video, and then the video's length will just be based off of how much seed content we have. And even if it's not a blog, it doesn't have to necessarily be a blog anymore.
That's right.
We have progressed the video service, so now we can even do a landing page perhaps with a video.
Yeah, sales pages and everything. Yeah. The month to try it out. Alrighty, on to the next one here.
All right. So how do you have a simple conversation with a potential client about SEO?
Becca,
recommend.
are you sure you're able to answer this?
I don't know.
I could.
I don't know
think
if
we're
you're
qualified.
All right, Bobby, you got this one. All right. So first of all, we have a reseller's guide too. So when you are going to be approaching a potential client, I recommend checking out our reseller guide first. But a lot of it, to get straight to the point, is very similar to how we're talking today. Starting off with a potential client, I would take a look at how they're doing in the rankings, as well as take a look at how their competitors are doing and comparing the 2. A good rule of thumb that I like to use, that I've heard some of our other account executives use here, and it turns out to be pretty true, is that for how much you spend in a 12-month period, you should expect to see that doubled the next year in your traffic value. Talking to them about how many links then they need to be purchasing based off of where they want to be on particular key terms and what their competitors are doing are a great place to start. Also keep in mind that there are differences between good clients and bad clients. Everybody does need SEO, but when you are approaching a potential client as a reseller, know that, having someone who understands SEO may be a better fit as a reseller than to have to necessarily educate someone step by step too. And these are things that our reseller guide definitely goes into in detail.
Yeah, and I definitely think open-ended questions, allowing your potential client to give you as much information about their business, about their competitors, about their goals are probably going to be the foundations of your conversation, because you want to make sure you understand what they're looking for, where they want to rank, what the aggression is of the campaigns that they want to go after, and who their biggest competitors are. And if that's who they want to beat, or if they just want to be in position 3, are they happy with position 3? Do they want to be in position 1? Is it an ego game that they're playing, or is this actually for the leads that they're looking for? So knowing their goals, knowing their competitors, and knowing their business very well, and letting them tell you all the information that you need to put together to be able to create a good proposal.
Heck yeah, hit the nail on the head right there.
Yeah, as you can tell, Becca and Ryan are very good at talking. They do. That was a compliment.
Substance.
That was a compliment. Yes.
I use words good.
What is the recommended number of words per article to rank very well? Dave actually mentioned this earlier. You probably want to at least have 1,000 words on every page of your website. And as I mentioned earlier, a great way to do it as well is to just look at what your competitors are doing. Go to their site, see how many words most of their posts are doing. If you really want to kick their butt, double down and do twice as many as them. And that'll probably have a good effect.
Yeah, definitely. I mean, content, if you have a topic that is your main money keyword, if this is going to be your main driver of your traffic, try to go for as a large amount of word content as possible. So if you can go to 1,500 words, 2,000, 3,000, whatever you can do, and then create smaller articles for those subtopics below that monster topic that you're trying to go after, that money page, and have good interlinking then to each other, that can then lead Google to see you as an authority. Some say that magic number of subtopics to your main topic is around 10 articles. And that can be anything from a 500-word article to a 1,000-word article. But yeah, the more words you can get, the more powerful, the more topically in-depth you can become.
Awesome.
Number 12. How can we price services fairly? Seems like a lot of people in this market are price gouging their customers. This is a question that we get all the time. A lot of our resellers have told us that they are able to double the cost when they resell our services. But this is going to depend on a few things. One is time management. How much time are you spending with your customers? And are you doing any additional reporting for them or feedback? Another thing to remember is that your time is valuable and your time is worth money. So the price you're setting on our services is all going to depend on the amount of time that you're spending with your customers.
And in general, kind of a rule of thumb for pricing, if you're just looking at the HOTH products, is it's anywhere from a 50% to a 300% markup. Some people are just doubling the cost, which seems fair for the most part. Now, when you start getting a little greedy and you get into that 3, 4, 5x, that's when you may have some troubles. But I would say for general price points is double the cost is pretty fair. All right, let's see what we got for number 13. Who's taking over number 13?
13. Becca?
Is that me? Oh, okay. Sorry about that. Should we be worried about author bio boxes for homepage content for a service-based business? How does EAT work in this situation? Okay, so EAT is expertise, authority, and trustworthiness. So Google typically doesn't recommend using or including biographies for all editorial content that you put out there. I would recommend hopping on a call with one of us so we can take a look at that specific site to see if that is something that would be a good consideration there. But usually that's not something I would always recommend doing.
All righty, question 14. What are the top SEO practices to have in mind in regards to blog writing? I love this question. So important. We actually have a full protocol that our writers have to follow. So we, as we've mentioned a couple times now, we make sure that they're at least writing 1,000 words per post. That's the best way to do it, in my opinion. The more quality content, the better. It's that simple. Now, the second thing I would probably say is that when it comes to keywords, you want to make sure that they can be found, but that you're not over optimizing them, which can be very easy to do sometimes. Google does not like the over optimization of keywords. You want to focus on more topical relevance and secondary keywords as well. Don't make it super obvious that you're trying to pinpoint that keyword. Last thing I would say is that people really underestimate how important internal and external linking is on blog posts. Internal linking is something that was brand new to me when I started here. I didn't realize that just simply putting a link on one of your pages to another page would help out. And you can do that yourself. You don't have to do any outreach to get that link. Go and do internal linking right now. You've got to have lots of link going to other pages of your site, because that's how your customers in Google is going to crawl your site, and linking out to other references and other sites is going to show that is very important for showing authority. All right.
So we got which activities are included in on-page SEO. I don't know if this is for particular to the HOTH product or not, but I'll just kind of go over some details. So it's a good question. There's a ton. We actually have a full blog post on this too, so if somebody can pop that into the chat. So we have a full guide on how to do on-page. So it's all anything to do with changes to make your website in order to make it easier for Google's crawlers to just read through and understand what you're trying to portray to your users. So some of those things are site speed, your title tags, meta descriptions, image tags, obviously the content on the page itself, and then the linking that Bobby was just talking about, whether it's internal or external. So there's even way more than that, but I'd recommend checking out the blog for that, just because it has a breakdown for how to handle your on-page step by step by step. So great resource tool. If you don't want to do it yourself, we do have a service, $30 per page, extremely reasonable.
Last question, I believe.
What are the best resources to stay updated on SEO tips? Well, I like our blog. First of all, you can basically teach yourself SEO by all of the content that we put out there, including some videos too. I also subscribe to Search Engine Land, SEJ, Search Engine Journal, Moz. If you're a Redditor, the subreddit Big SEO can be a good one as well. There are some trolls on there, but if you do the other, yeah, of course, because it's Reddit. But if you do all of those other ones, and then you want to deep dive into the Reddit sphere and realm of that too, can sometimes be some next level SEO questions on there that get very, very technical.
Yeah,
so,
definitely.
Yeah.
And Marie Haynes is really big. She's always kind of she's always at the newest information, the quickest out of anybody in the industry. Also, I like to anything that Matt Diggity does is fairly informational, a little bit more advanced maybe than the normal SEO, which is really helpful. So the lab too is a great resource too as well, and they have a Facebook group. So if you are part of the lab, you can get updated information from other SEOs in the industry. So those would be some of the places. But I do think our blog itself and our ultimate guide page has a ton of resources that can help any level of expertise in SEO.
Yes.
And if there is something or a topic you want to see more information on, we're always looking for more excuses to hop on these webinars and make videos and podcasts. So if there is anything else you'd like a deep dive into, let us know. We want to make that for you.
Yeah, wants back in front of the camera.
I want to be back on screen.
Well, and then
I got my haircut and everything.
That gives our content team more work to do, so then they can create more topics, more ultimate articles for you, blogs, step-by-steps of how to do this, which then only helps our SEO.
Yeah.
So
we want to be an authority as well. Yeah, that's definitely true.
All right.
Oh, that's it.
Well, that is it. Let's take a quick look in the chat. Were there any questions we missed in there? I know Trevor and a couple other people in there answering questions as we went.
Ooh, how do you schedule a call? I saw Trevor put my Calendly in there. We'll put in Ryan's in there as well. Also, at any time, you can log into your HOTH dashboard, and our picture will actually pop up in the upper part of the screen, and you can schedule a call that way, or go to the support section of your dashboard, and you can schedule a call there.
The hoth.com/meet. Boom, that will take you right there. You log in, it will automatically get you to your account manager.
Yeah, shortcuts there. But
Yeah.
yeah.
We do have a one last question that came in. What would be a good tip for an insurance agency to get backlinks? I would assume this probably applies to every sort of niche out there. What is the best way to just get some backlinks?
Yeah, blogger outreach. I mean, you
Yeah.
can start reaching out to blogs that are relevant to your industry. You can work with people in your network in the local area to try to see if you can exchange links. Perhaps somebody has some type of content that you're able to provide maybe a quote for. Maybe you have a resource piece that you can share with somebody in the same industry that they'll use on their website, which then they'll backlink to your website. So there's a lot of different tips. We also have a really great article about exactly this, and it's the ultimate guide to manual blogger outreach, I believe.
Yes.
So I would check that out because that lays down the groundwork to the T.
I will post that up in the chat now.
Yes, we got a link coming for that in a second. It is a lot of work to do manual outreach.
A lot of work.
That's why we have a great product called HOTH Guest Post.
Yeah, and that's why we created it,
Yep.
because we know that it's about the network, it's about your time, and is your time worth spending hours and hours and hours to get one backlink that maybe you could have just paid for it and you didn't have to do as much work, and maybe it'll even be more powerful, more topically relevant. Maybe the anchor text will be more appropriate for your website as well because you picked it versus what that publisher picked.
Exactly. All righty. Well, I think that does it for another episode of SEO Office Hours coming to you. Becca and Ryan will be doing this, about once a month, I believe. So if you didn't get a chance to get your questions in there, or if you get any questions over the course of the next month, write them down. You can submit them next week or next time, and we'll get those taken
We
care of.
take gag questions too. So if you want to send us a goofy question,
Right.
we might answer it.
Yeah. Also, what do you guys think of ASMR SEO? Let me know. Please be kind.
Good touch with the mic.
Yes.
All righty. We'll see you guys next time.
All right.
Cheers.
Bye. Cheers. Thanks for stopping by.